Victor Hugo, 1802–1885. Victor-Marie Hugo stands as a preeminent voice of French Romanticism, poet, dramatist, novelist, and persistent public intellectual. Born in Besançon in 1802, he married Adèle Fouché in 1822. The couple had 5 children, though family life was overshadowed by tragedy when his daughter Léopoldine drowned in 1843. Hugo's oeuvre encompasses lyric poetry, innovative drama, notably Hernani, and monumental novels such as Notre-Dame de Paris, 1831, and Les Misérables, 1862, works that combine sweeping narrative with moral urgency. His interventions extended beyond literature. His attention to the fate of Notre Dame helped stimulate interest in Gothic architecture and subsequent restoration efforts. Politically outspoken, Hugo opposed Napoleon III and spent years in exile on Jersey and Guernsey, where he continued to write, correspond, and receive visitors. In private life, he was an assiduous correspondent and remained engaged with family affairs despite personal strains. Returning to France in his later years, he died in Paris in 1885. His state funeral became a national event. Hugo's enduring significance lies in the conjunction of humane imagination, dramatic energy, and a conviction that literature should address social injustice. Alexandre Dumas, 1802–1870. Alexandre Dumas, Père, was one of the most energetic and popular storytellers of the 19th century. He was born in Villers-Cotterêts in 1802. In 1840, he married the actress Ida Ferrier, though the marriage had no children. Dumas fathered children outside marriage, the most famous being Alexandre Dumas Fils, who later became a writer himself. Dumas had a unique method. He combined historical research, collaboration with other writers, and a natural instinct for drama. His masterpieces, The Three Musketeers and The Count of Monte Cristo, are still loved today for their unforgettable characters and deep moral conflicts. He was also very active in the theater, adapting, staging, and touring his works across Europe. His books made him famous everywhere, but his lavish lifestyle and financial recklessness often left him in debt. Despite criticism for relying on collaborators, his storytelling genius set the foundation for modern historical adventure fiction. In private life, he was warm, romantic, and full of charm. Dumas died in 1870 near Dieppe, leaving behind a vast legacy that continues to fascinate readers to this day. Gustave Flaubert, 1821–1880. Gustave Flaubert is often cited as the paradigm of the literary craftsman, a stylistic perfectionist whose influence on the modern novel is substantial. Born in Rouen in 1821, he never married and had no children. Among his notable intimate associations was a sometimes turbulent affair with the poet Louise Colette. Flaubert pursued an aesthetic of the perfect sentence, engaging in exhaustive revision until rhythm, diction, and tone met his exacting standards. Madame Bovary, 1857, the result of protracted labor, provoked scandal and brought an obscenity trial, yet ultimately established Flaubert as a founder of realist prose. He preferred impersonal narration and a measured, often ironic distance, resisting overt moralizing and insisting that literature observe rather than preach. Flaubert traveled widely. North Africa and the Near East informed his visual imagination and maintained intensive correspondence with younger writers, exercising notable influence as a mentor. He spent his final years at Croisset, near Rouen, continuing to refine shorter works and letters that reveal his aesthetic rigor. He died in 1880, leaving a methodological exemplar for successive generations of novelists. Émile Zola, 1840–1902. Émile Zola combined documentary research and political engagement to define French naturalism's principal project. Born in Paris in 1840, he married Alexandrine Meillet in 1870. Although that marriage produced no official heirs, Zola maintained a long extramarital relationship with Jeanne Rosereau, by whom he fathered two children, Denise, 1889, and Jacques, 1891, whom he supported discreetly. Zola's Rougon-Macquart cycle, a 20-novel enterprise, examines heredity, environment, and the social mechanisms of the Second Empire. Novels such as L'Assommoir, Germinal, and Nana render working-class life and industrial conditions with forensic attention. As a journalist and public intellectual, Zola intervened decisively in national affairs. His open letter, J'accuse, 1898, which defended Alfred Dreyfus and charged sections of the military with injustice, altered public debate, and exposed him to political peril. He died in Paris in 1902 under circumstances officially attributed to accidental carbon monoxide poisoning. Some contemporaries and later commentators suspected foul play. Zola's legacy persists in the novelist's obligation to bear witness and to probe social causation with investigative intensity. Marcel Proust, 1871–1922. Marcel Proust composed one of modern fiction's most sustained meditations on time, memory, and social life. Born in Auteuil, near Paris in 1871, he neither married nor had children. His life was organized around intense friendships, salon culture, and a meticulous attention to sensory experience. Proust's fragile health and nocturnal habits fostered a reclusive existence, yet his observational acuity was exceptional. Infinitesimal gestures, tonal inflections, and olfactory triggers populate In Search of Lost Time, à la recherche du temps perdu. The famous Madeleine episode transforms involuntary memory into an operative method whereby a single sensation can unlock entire sequences of lost time and social worlds. Proust devoted himself to iterative revision, polishing sentences to render the elasticity of temporal consciousness. His household, especially his devoted housekeeper, Céleste Albaret, and friendships with figures such as Reynaldo Hahn, provided both care and documentary material. He chronicled salon rivalries, theatrical life, and shifting codes of Parisian society, converting them into a sustained psychological inquiry. Proust died in Paris in 1922, leaving a 7-volume monument that reshaped narrative temporality and interiority in 20th century fiction. Voltaire, François-Marie Arouet, 1694–1778. François-Marie Arouet, known by the pen name Voltaire, epitomizes the Enlightenment's commitment to wit, critique, and the public defense of reason. Born in Paris in 1694, he did not enter into a conventional marital union and left no legitimate heirs. In later life, his domestic partner was his niece, Marie-Louise Mignot, Madame Denise, who managed his household. Voltaire's corpus includes plays, philosophical tales, historical writings, and an extensive correspondence that challenged superstition, religious intolerance, and arbitrary authority. Candide, 1759, exemplifies his satirical eloquence against doctrinal optimism, while his Letters on England introduced French readers to English empiricism and comparative toleration. Frequently subject to censorship, arrest, or exile for his polemical positions, Voltaire nonetheless cultivated a wide European network, corresponding with scientists, monarchs, and fellow thinkers, and advocated juridical reform, freedom of expression, and cultural exchange. He died in Paris in 1778 after a life that fused polemic, erudition, and social engagement. His intellectual legacy remains central to modern secular and liberal traditions. Jean-Jacques Rousseau, 1712–1778. Jean-Jacques Rousseau was an original and often contentious thinker whose writings profoundly reshaped ideas about politics, education, and subjectivity. Born in Geneva in 1712, he formed a long partnership with Thérèse Levasseur. The couple had 5 children whom they placed in a foundling hospital shortly after birth, a biographical fact that has prompted extensive moral and historical reflection. Rousseau's major works, The Social Contract and Émile, advocated popular sovereignty and an education attuned to natural development, while his Confessions inaugurated a candid autobiographical form that probed motive and feeling. Rousseau's life was characterized by quarrels with contemporaneous philosophes, intermittent exile, and fragile health, yet his moral intensity inspired both revolutionary actors and romantic critics of modernity. He spent his final years in France and died in 1778 at Ermenonville. Rousseau's influence remains ambivalent and powerful. He advanced democratic imagination and pedagogical reform, while his personal contradictions continue to complicate his reputation. Honoré de Balzac, 1799–1850. Honoré de Balzac undertook the ambitious project of representing post-revolutionary French society in its totality. Born in Tours in 1799, he labored prodigiously to construct La Comédie Humaine, an interlinked sequence of novels and sketches that map recurring characters and the social geography from provincial towns to Parisian salons. Balzac's observational acuity on ambition, money, legal institutions, and personal desire combined with a protean imagination to produce figures such as Père Goriot and Eugénie Grandet, embodiments of social types and private tragedy. His private life mirrored his professional intensity. A protracted correspondence and affair with Countess Ewelina Hanska culminated in marriage in 1850, shortly before his death. Earlier, he acknowledged an illegitimate daughter, Marie-Caroline du Fresnay. Notoriously industrious, Balzac worked long hours, consumed prodigious quantities of coffee, and endured chronic financial pressure. He died in Paris in 1850, leaving an unparalleled panoramic depiction of 19th-century French life that influenced both novelists and early social analysts. Molière, Jean-Baptiste Poquelin, 1622–1673. Jean-Baptiste Poquelin, known professionally as Molière, reconfigured French theater by fusing trenchant social satire with consummate comic invention. Baptized in Paris in the year 1622, he embraced the stage, formed a company closely allied with the Béjart family, and, after extended touring, settled in Paris where he wrote, produced, and frequently performed leading roles. His comedies, Tartuffe, The Misanthrope, The Imaginary Invalid, and others, expose hypocrisy, affectation, and social folly, while often retaining a sympathetic view of human weakness. Molière's marriage to the actress Armande Béjart intertwined family life with theatrical practice. Records indicate children, among whom a daughter, Marie-Madeleine, survived. He faced sustained clerical opposition and censorship, but also enjoyed royal patronage, notably from Louis XIV, which allowed him a modicum of protection to stage bold works. Molière collapsed during a performance of The Imaginary Invalid and died shortly thereafter in the year 1673. His plays remain central to the French repertory and continue to be valued for their combination of satire and humanity. Colette, Sidonie-Gabrielle Colette, 1873–1954. Sidonie-Gabrielle Colette, commonly known simply as Colette, wrote with acute sensory precision about desire, nature, and the shifting registers of female experience. Born in Saint-Sauveur-en-Puisay in 1873, she first married Henri Gauthier-Villars, known as Willie, in 1893. That marriage produced no children and ended in separation, during which early Claudine novels were published under her husband's imprint. In 1912, she married Henri de Jouvenel, and in 1913 gave birth to a daughter, Colette de Jouvenel, nicknamed Belle Gazou. Colette's career encompassed fiction, journalism, and performance. Later works, such as Gigi, Chérie, and the Claudine sequence probe desire, aging and autonomy with candidness and sensory acuity. Her personal life was public and unconventional, including relationships with both men and women, and she asserted authorship and independence against efforts to subsume her under the name of her first husband. Honored in later years by literary institutions and elected to the Académie Goncourt, Colette remained a prominent public figure until her death in Paris in 1954. Her corpus endures for its frankness, fine observation, and contribution to 20th century women's writing. Thanks for watching till the end. Don't forget to give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. It really motivates me to keep creating more content.